What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to the bonus episode of Super LX Views. We had to talk about Drake Maye, runner-up MVP, before we get into this Sunday. Now, when we discuss Drake Maye, we gotta really talk about who he is. We can go with pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses, but that's not going to give you an accurate depiction of who he is as a quarterback. To truly get a good picture and understand who Drake Maye is as a quarterback, where he is in his development before Sunday, we just got to give you objective views. Objectively speaking, there is no weakness to his game. The only thing that I will sort of criticize about Drake Maye is two things. One, football maturity. Shout out to our big brother, Big Shot. And number two, consistency. And both of those things sort of go hand in hand because as you become more mature, you become more consistent in anything in life. That's just, for the most part, the natural growth and development and evolution of a human being. No different when it comes to a professional athlete, and especially the quarterback position when there's so many complex matters, not just on a each game basis, from a each down, each play basis. Watching Drake Maye's film is truly a pleasure because there are so many things that he does where you just say, wow, this kid's got it. This kid is the future. This kid is the true heir to the GOAT. And there's a lot of things that he does well. There's a lot of things that he needs to do better. And there's a lot of things that he needs to work on completely eliminating from his game. Let's start right there. The thing that he needs to completely eliminate is he needs to reprogram his mind to the fact that positive plays are a good thing no matter what. Let's start with the things that he needs to eliminate. The one thing he needs to do a better job of is protecting the football. There are times on film and on game day, and everybody's talking about it, where he has a play open. He has the check down available, but he will tuck it down. He will sort of pump fake and look to make the bigger play, look to make the more explosive play downfield. And in that, he gets reckless in his protection of the football. But yet there are other times where he's doing a drop back and you see the ball placement between his chest is very well. His eyes are looking downfield. His feet are all in unison. And the only time he separates both hands from the football is when he begins his throwing motion, and it comes out direct, it comes out decisive, and it comes out with great energy. But when you see him sort of be undecisive, that's when he gets into his mistakes. The things that he needs to do better. There are situations where you will see a guy get open earlier than he should be on a deeper sort of intermediate route, but he will continue to go through his drop and his progression until he gets there. What I would like to see him do is become more consistent in his reaction time, to become more consistent in, okay, I don't have to take these two other steps back in my drop back. Guy's open. I'm just going to get rid of it. Certain things. And that's just me being overly critical. Let's talk about the positives. When it comes to the trajectory of the football, the accuracy, the ball placement, those are all things that you can't teach. And he has such a natural ability and understanding of what each throw requires. Is he always precise with his ball placement? No, but he's always accurate with his ball placement. And he always puts it in a place that's favorable for his receivers to catch it. And the one thing that he is a superhuman at is his deep ball accuracy. And the reason for that is because it's effortless. There are a lot of quarterbacks, when they go to throw a deep ball, certain things with their mechanics either are exaggerated or just overdone. And that's why you see a lot of quarterbacks that are most quarterbacks are inconsistent with their deep ball. The reason he's so accurate is because every deep ball has the same effortless motion. And you can tell that the majority of the power is as he's sort of bringing the ball through, and all that force, all that power is coming from his lower body, and it just comes out of his hand effortlessly. It's very Ben Roethlisberger-like. who also threw an effortless deep ball. And it's also very early Aaron Rodgers-like, who threw probably the most ridiculous deep balls that we have ever seen in the NFL. So the deep ball accuracy is truly a work of art. I would say when it comes to the intermediate and the short passing, it's all just maturity and consistency and understanding how important timing and how important it is from the quarterback position to avoid negative plays as much as possible. Let's talk about his matchup this Sunday against Seattle. There's going to be a lot of challenges presented to him. There's going to be a lot of challenges presented to his offensive line, as we discussed in episode number 2. There's going to be a lot of challenges to his receivers, as we discussed in the first episode of Super LX Views. So how do we put it all together? Well, very simple. You have to utilize his strengths. What are his strengths? The deep ball, as we discussed. Now, with Seattle, they're going to keep a lid on that defense. But what he needs to do, and what Josh McDaniels needs to do, is draw up plays where you are attacking the shell, where you are attacking the border of the Seattle Seahawks umbrella defense, and see if you can get chunk plays that way. Because if your idea of manufacturing chunk plays is through flat cut in routes and just vertical routes, it's going to be a long day, not only for Drake Maye, but also for his receivers. The Seattle Seahawks do a great job of clogging up what they perceive is the most favorable place the quarterback wants to throw the football field. I'll say that one more time. They do a great job of clogging up the most favorable place they perceive the opposing quarterback wants to throw the football. So for Drake Maye, those chunk plays are going to have to be things that they seek, that they pursue, and that they are patiently aggressive in. Now, one thing they could do as an offense is not start timid, but start with these run formations and heavy under center looks. Just if you could maybe get these Seahawks safeties to creep up a little bit, because that's the only way that you will have more vulnerable opportunities with those angle routes and those corner routes. Again, the routes where you just have them flat cut, those aren't going to work. Any cut route, whether it's an in cut, whether it's an out route, whatever it is, it's got to have angles. It's got to be able to not stretch, but just expand some of the coverage zones and some of the ways that those safeties can close a window with such quickness. As far as what's the most important thing, it comes down simply to protection. We have highlighted this. We've talked about this. Drake Maye's been sacked 15 times in 3 playoff games. Each game against the Chargers, sacked 5 times. Against the Texans, sacked 5 times. Against the Broncos, sacked 5 times. They need to find a way to protect him. Now, when looking at those sacks, there was a common theme. There was a trend. The trend was they had less than 7-man protection. And that's not a good thing. You cannot live by constantly having 7-man protection, because that's going to greatly compromise what you want to do offensively in terms of spacing, in terms of route combination, in terms of creating opportunities, not only for your quarterback, but also for your skill positions. So they're going to have to truly understand patience, spacing, and protection. And they got to find a balance in when they want to attack, when they want to be patient, when they want to take their deep shots, because just having a 7-man protection is not going to work. And so again, trends. What you see on film, when they have 7-man protection, they get a lot of chunk explosive plays. When they have less than that, they generate pressure, they allow sacks, etc., etc., etc. And the sacks, while yes, the offensive line is to blame, there are a lot of sacks on film where Drake Maye could have avoided some sacks and avoided a negative play, which goes back to our common theme. For the New England Patriots to win this football game, Drake Maye is going to have to play his best football. It's just that simple to me. He's going to have to make plays. He's going to have to make tight throws. He's going to have to improvise with his legs. And the good news for him is that is probably the one vulnerable spot for this Seahawks defense is how they defend running quarterbacks. So again, to summarize it up, he's going to have to make plays by making tight throws. He's going to have to be decisive with those throws, and he's going to have to utilize his legs, utilize his athleticism, and generate yards and generate first downs. This is going to be a long 4-quarter game. Each quarter is going to have its own story, its own game, its own episode. This Super Bowl is going to be a Netflix miniseries, and I can't wait for it. In the words of a Hall of Famer, get your popcorn ready. 2-2.